Um, I've never made a video before, but I promised Claire that I would do this for mental health reasons. So I haven't been able to record until today because I had to learn how to use the tablet. But basically, I made it back to South Africa. I was having so many problems in the UK. I was physically ill because of the panic attacks, giving me diarrhea, and I was getting stuck on the floor, and I couldn't see anybody to help me, and I was just getting more and more sick. So I came back to South Africa as a last resort. I managed to find somebody to fly with because I couldn't even leave my house on my own. A kind saint called Richard Stevens agreed to fly with me. He was flying home to St. Helena for Christmas, so was passing through Johannesburg, which is where my adopted family are. So there's a lot of people here that care about me. So I'm in Soweto now, which is my home here in South Africa. I was lucky enough to go to 2 weddings when I first arrived, so it was quite busy. I went to a white wedding and then a traditional wedding the next day, but then my problem came back to haunt me, and I had a bit of a issue. So a bit of background. So it stemmed from when I was raped on St. Helena 2 years ago, and I lost all of my family because of it. They turned against me and blamed me for it, and I have had a problem with doctors not believing me and calling me a burden on society and a waste of time and resources, and I totally lost my identity. I didn't know who I was anymore, and I didn't even feel human. And if I didn't manage to get back here, I felt like I would want to kill myself. Um, so I made it back here, and I did have one incident. It was again the panic attacks causing the diarrhea, but the diarrhea was so bad this time it just didn't stop, and I kept fainting, and I couldn't replace my fluids quick enough. They just kept coming out. My friend is kind. This is the room that we sleep in, and Sietzi brought the bucket in, and I had to actually sit on the bucket, and he had to keep emptying it for me, and I kept fainting, and I just felt so ill. I didn't know what was happening to me. My legs didn't work anymore again, and they felt like lead. I couldn't feel my legs, and it was a public holiday, so it's really difficult for the ambulances here to attend to people on a public holiday. But the community here was so good to me. Everybody searched to see if they could find someone with petrol to take me to Barra Hospital, which is what we did. And I went in. I don't remember much about going there. I just remember them telling me I was very dehydrated. I'd lost 50% of my bodily fluids, and I hadn't hardly any potassium left in my bloodstream, so that was why my legs felt like lead. And they put me on a drip, and they kept me in Barra Hospital for a week. Baragwanath Hospital is the biggest hospital in the Southern Hemisphere. So it is a very busy place, and it's government run. I went there because it's easy for my friends to visit me there. It's the closest place I could get to. They offered me the opportunity to go to a private hospital if I wanted to, because I'd booked my ticket with a debit card. So if anybody else is in this position, you can go to a private hospital. But I decided to stay where I was, so that my friends in the community, it was easier for them to get to me. And so they replaced the fluids. But one night, my first night there, I slept, but I don't understand, because the fluids continued to come out of my body, and I woke up the next day and my bed was covered in the diarrhea, which was awful because I then had to. It's a poor hospital. It doesn't have many resources, but they do their best. So I washed my dress in cold water. There's no hot water, and I told one of the nurses, but then I had to. There was no clean bed linen or anything, so I turned the blanket over and I covered the patch with as much as I could with my towel. We were lucky to get pillows later that day though, so I felt grateful for everything they did for me, and they were giving me loperamide to try to stop the diarrhea. They tested me for everything, all infections, had blood tests done, and then they came back and referred me to psychiatry and psychology because they told me that it was the panic attack that induced it all. So for me it was terrifying that it could get that bad. My temperature had dropped to 35 degrees, and they told me that I could have died. And I couldn't even speak English when I got there. My friend Sietzi came with me and spoke for me, and the other patients were really kind. They helped me out, showed me where to keep everything, what to do, and saw the doctor once a day. I saw the psychologist, and to be honest, it was a huge relief because I've never managed to tell anyone that much before, and she listened to me, and she was just so kind, and she referred me to psychiatry, and she wanted me to stay in until I was physically better and my fluids were replaced, and so I stayed in the hospital for the weekend, but my friend visited every day with food, kept telling me that the food in the hospital was what they gave to prisoners. But I was trying to eat as much pap as I could to clog myself up with the diarrhea. It just went on and on. But the psychologist gave me some exercises to do, and then I ended up going to see the psychiatrist, who looked into my medication again for me and told me that they could treat me here, and I was just amazed. To be honest, I know that the system here, health system, government system, is overburdened and overstretched, and I was never, ever expecting to get this much help from the government here. I've been struggling so much in Scotland, in the UK. Never in a million years was I expecting to get so much help here for nothing. So originally my plan was to speak to a psychologist called Nikki Grupel, and it would have cost me 800 rands a session. But now I've seen the psychologist again as an outpatient at the hospital, Barrow Hospital, and she's told me that they can treat me, for free, all on the government services, which the majority of the people have to rely on. So for me, it was a blessing in the end. She's a very good psychologist. It's an academic hospital, so everybody is training or is newly qualified. And she referred me for urgent intensive psychotherapy towards the end of January. So that's the plan at the moment. I need to try to extend my visa so that I can make the most of what I've been offered here, because it would be a shame to have to go back to struggling again when I've been offered the help here for free. I have to say that although the system is overstretched, I think there are certain parts of it which work very well, and people don't tend to realise. There's not many people go with a psychiatric disorder. They believe that they've been afflicted by God or they've got evil spirits, so most of the system is overstretched with the physical conditions, but in fact the psychiatry and psychology, for me to be able to see a psychiatrist every 2 weeks for free is amazing, and it's just because they're there waiting for people, and for me finding out that part of the system is working very well, and in fact better than the UK and for free, makes me so grateful, and also very happy for the rest of the people that are in this country needing these services. and I'm just so grateful. So I'm an outpatient now, so I went to see the psychiatrist again this morning, and I cried my life out, my 39 years worth of my life, onto the doctor, and but she was so kind again. She treated me as a human being, which is what all I wanted really. She told me I hadn't known life without trauma, um, and that she was so glad that I'd come here and that I'd come to the best place in South Africa for help, and that they were going to do everything they can to help me. So she increased my sertraline again. I'm also on quetiapine to help with the panic again, so it doesn't get, hopefully doesn't get that bad with my diarrhea, losing so much fluid again and ending up so physically ill. Um, and she was just so kind. I haven't been used to this in the UK. I've had terrible experiences, as I said, being shouted at for 30 minutes in my face by a doctor telling me I was a burden on society, complete waste of time and resources, and that I was harmful to other people. So I felt I'd lost my identity. As I said, I felt I don't want to be a burden on society. I don't want to be a burden on any society, including this one. And so I'm very wary of that, and I've made them aware that I never want to be a burden, and that they've assured me that I'm not a burden. They've also assured me that nobody will ever treat me like that here, even if I don't see the same psychiatrist again. They've assured me that I'll always be treated with respect, which is what we all want, really, and what we should expect. Um, so I'm seeing her again in 2 weeks' time. It's a bit of a wait. We go at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we queue up until the doctors come, and we get our notes stamped, and then there's a queuing system. So, and then she calls us in, but she's going to try and get the psychotherapy for me now even earlier. But she did say it's very important, if I can, to try and extend my visa. Um, so I'm going to do that on Monday for an extra 3 months if I can, because it would be a shame to not be able to access this therapy which has now been offered to me. So I think that's it for today. I haven't been able to do very much with the children that I volunteer with here yet, but I will share another video that I took when I arrived. I had an amazing welcome from them all, so it was beautiful. So I will share that next time, and update you again when I'm feeling more awake, because it was an early start. Everything happens very early, and I'm not very good at getting up early. So, but I'm so thankful for Tsietsi and the whole community here who've supported me the whole time, and sometimes I don't feel like I deserve it. I've spent New Year's Eve up at Lebo's Soweto Backpackers, which was my second home, where I used to stay every time, so they became like my family, and we went up onto the hill and with the friends and watched the fireworks all over Soweto. It was amazing. So I've got good friends here who are very supportive. I missed my brother and sister-in-law who were coming through the airport a few days ago. They'd agreed to meet me. And I've never seen my niece, and I had gifts to give them from Soweto. So I managed to get myself to the airport in time, but then to find out that they'd gone through security 5 hours earlier than they needed to, because the children were bored in the hotel. So that just showed me what my family think of me. But luckily I have, it's sad seeing the pictures of my whole family together on St. Helena, and I'm the only one not there, except for Candice as well, my second cousin, who is supportive. I did find it very sad, but I'm not welcome there at the moment. This is my home at the moment. This is my cat at the moment, Timothy. And I've forgotten what I'm talking about because my brain's not very good at remembering things, but we're just going to see how things go. My first plan for the children with the art school, the piano is broken at the moment. We need to get it fixed or replaced. We're going to start with Auld Lang Syne, I'm going to teach them to sing it. They're going to sing it in English, and then they're going to sing it in Zulu, and I'll probably play my flute. And then we will make a video of them as well. But that's a separate issue. That's my voluntary work that I do here. But I'm needing to learn to relax at the moment, so that I don't get sick again. I was just, I don't know what triggers it. That's part of the problem. I'd had a lovely day with the Funo and non-play, and got back here, and I was just got really, really cold, and then it came on, and it was awful. But I'll go for now. That's the update. So my friend Richard, who I flew with, has kindly agreed to meet with me on Monday, and he's going to take the gifts for the children that I missed at the airport and post them in the UK. So that's really kind of him. We'll try to bring him to Soweto in a combi if he wants to come. So we're looking forward to that, and I'll also see if I can extend my visa and change my flights, because I'm so grateful for everything. I decided that I had to end up in that state to be able to access what I have. I would never have known it was possible otherwise. So so I'm just so grateful to everybody. The whole community is so supportive. I'm repeating myself a bit now, so I'm going to go and lie down. Thank you for listening to me. I'll make another video soon on the progress and let you know how we're doing with the children. Bye bye.